this video of what the people look like, and as they came in, they talked to him, talked different stuff like that.
That's a Dr. Mad vibe thing that he does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he does a book.
The Mad Professor.
Angelo stays very busy these days.
Yes, he does.
He does. So I just wanted to start this off asking you about your health and how you're doing, because I know the end of the Finding Joseph I movie talks about you in a good place with medication. And of course, we all read about your surgery. So I just want to ask how you're doing.
I'm doing great. I had to have brain surgery with Dr. Lee. That was about 7-8 months ago in February. And since then, I've been doing much better, and I feel good. At first, I didn't know if it would work or not, and so I gave it a try. My wife, she stood by me the whole time. God bless her soul. Sister Lori Hudson, and she said everything was going to be all right. I said, well, let me go on and see this Dr. Lee and see what he can do for me. And then I went to another doctor, Dr. Mahmood, who was working on different, how do you say, exceptionally good medication.
Okay.
And they put me on this medicine. I went to the hospital. I stayed 3 days in there, and then after that, they gave me some clean medicine to take, and everything went fine. And now I don't have any more headaches. I'm doing great.
Did you have a resistance to medication, like earlier in your life? You know, knowing what I know about, you, Rastafarianism, even going back to Bob Marley, there's a resistance to modern medication. I know maybe you talked about Haile Selassie bringing it to Ethiopia.
Yeah.
But I wonder how that was for you.
Yeah, it was. At first, I was a little leery of it, and I didn't take my medicine. I didn't know if it would work or not. And then I went to Jamaica and seen a bush doctor, and he said he would make everything all right for $100,000.
It's a good gig.
Yeah,
I know, and I didn't. I told him I didn't have it. He said, "Well,
all he needs is one client."
Yeah, man. So I told him I didn't have it, and he said, well, he couldn't really help me. And so I came forward from Jamaica, and then I went ahead and talked to Miss Mahmood about it and told her what was going on. She said, oh, okay, well, I think if you try this medicine and try this and don't giving it astray, and don't go astray, and don't stop taking it, then you'll be all right. So that's what I did. I decided to take it, and little by little they went away, and now I don't have nothing wrong with me. I'm doing great. I've been coming forward with the shows. We got a great gig tonight.
Yeah, man.
With Human Rights, my backup band, HR and Human Rights. And I was talking with Jethro, and he said that he was going to get us to play tomorrow in Connecticut. So I said, yeah, sure, and that's what's happening. But tonight is my second time I've been to Long Beach, New York.
Nice.
My second time.
We always like to differentiate because there's Long Beach, California, which everyone knows.
Yeah.
People screw it up when they hear Long Beach. There's a Long Beach, New York, Long Island.
Yeah, we like to say Long Beach, California belongs to Snoop Dogg, and Long Beach, Long Island belongs to Jeff.
There you go.
There's a difference there.
And I'm curious. I'm going to reference that documentary a bit in this interview because there's so much to it. There's a lot of lore about you, and then and that actually did both. It verified a lot and created some new questions.
Yeah.
The times that the fans were curious about you, like we hear these stories, like we didn't know you. HR is not coming to the show. Something's wrong with HR. Was it because of the headaches you had? Was that solely the reason, or was there more going on?
The reason.
That was the reason.
That was the reason. Yeah, well, they were just unbearable to take. And so I just stayed in the room and stayed in my bed, and I waited. I wrote a couple of poems and wrote a couple of songs, about a few songs, about 3, 4, maybe 5 songs. And I just stayed in my room. I didn't leave from there. And it did have a lot to do with why I wasn't on tour and why I wasn't doing any shows. It did have something to do with that. But like I said, I'm doing shows now again, and I've come out of it, and I'm glad it taught me a lot. It taught me how to suffering taught me how to respect the Lord and to know the Lord is there. And now I got a new conception of what's going on, a new and brighter light. That's what's been happening, and I do see how it's all a part of growing up and being an adult and facing things up, facing reality, and knowing that the Lord is there to protect you, and that Jah Rastafari Selassie said that Ethiopia needed modern medicine, more modern medicine. And that's when I decided, well, I'm not going to be afraid of taking this medicine. I decided to go ahead and give it a try and take it, and it's been working out fine.
Great.
Yeah, because the relief that you must feel,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just for something like so internal.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I was telling George before, like I burned my cornea on Monday, boy. And let me tell you, few things bring you to your knees, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
like that eyeball. So I couldn't imagine, you know, the relief you feel. So do you feel rejuvenated, like you want to get back out there and just stay
Yes.
creative?
I surely do. I surely do. I do feel rejuvenated, and I'm definitely going to be playing some more gigs, and I feel like I can do it and be happy about it and be sincere and earnest, even more earnest than I was in the past. One is what I was in the past, and now I'm doing better. And I would like to write about some of my songs are about what I was going through, and I put it into songs, and I told people what was going on in my songs. I did it through in music. I was able to set it up and explain things in my music.
I'm glad you brought that up,
Mm-hmm.
HR, because I've been, I'm a huge fan, but obviously I knew I was going to talk to you, and I was looking at like your whole history, and I was relating it to a lot of the things we see with young men and punk rock, and there's sort of this thing like you're like a seeker, when you're a young person even, and then maybe when you're a musician, maybe you're even more of a seeker, like you're an artist. And then if you put spirituality on top of that, like you did, there's even more of like this seeking, and every part of your life is played out in your music, from Bad Brains to Human Rights to Zion Band and all of that stuff. And then, we see everything that you've gone through, and you've gone through so much. We see you now. I get a sense of like contentment, and I'm curious if that's the truth, and if you're still seeking at this point.
Yeah, man, I'm still seeking, and it had a lot to do with being mature and facing reality and going out there and making it happen and breaking those barriers still, and going to on meet and greets and going to with Finding Joseph I, we went on a meet and greet tour where we worked with different people on the stage. One was Howard Abrams.
Howie Abrams.
And the other one was our friend named Shamusa. Mr.
Did stuff
James
on Loudwire
Latos.
and St. Vitus Bar.
Yes, sir, he sure did. And they had a close contact with the audience. And the audience asked me some questions about what was happening with me and how I was feeling spiritually and mentally and what was going on. I think the Bad Brains going to get back together and stuff like that. So I told them, yeah, I think so. And a couple of months later, there we were on tour again, and we went to Chicago. And then
I saw you there.
You did?
Yeah, Riot
man.
Fest.
Oh man, it was incredible. It was incredible. And then we went to Gower's in California.
Yeah, I was at Riot Fest, and then you did the set, and then Randy from Lamb of God came out and did, what, like a song or two?
Yeah, he sure did. He did a reversion of Redbone in the City, and then he did his version of what was it that he did? I don't
Was it in the Takeover?
Yeah, the big takeover.
Okay. So yeah, how did that relationship even happen?
I think Daryl had met him in Woodstock, and
Okay.
he went up there to work with them, and that's where they found me, in Woodstock. Mm-hmm.
So what do you think of? So you're doing the festivals. What do you think of just like how everything seems to be like a festival during the summer now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's just all over the country.
Yes, sir.
Do you enjoy that?
Yes, I do. It has a lot to do with the weather, because we couldn't do any more clubs because our audience was so big and so large that they all wouldn't fit into a little club. So we decided to wait until the sun comes out, wait till the summertime, and then we'll be able to do more festivals.
Nice.
Not a bad problem to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder too, like you mentioned, maybe going out, seeing fans, doing question and answer, and you could see people are obviously rooting for you, but you have a unique perspective because you have a book about you, other people's opinions of you, and a documentary, other people's view on you. And I wonder what that's like to see that, and were you aware of other people's awareness about you?
Yes, I was aware of other people's awareness about me. At first, I was kind of, how do you say, surprised that
Yeah.
people were thinking about me, and there was some controversy going on about my health and how I was taking it and what I was going through. But I cleared up the matter, and I talked with them head on. I let them know, no, it's no uh, bothering me. I don't mind talking to y'all, and I don't mind answering the questions, because they had a lot of questions they wanted to ask me as far as where I came from, my father and mother, and where was I living, and who I was living with, and all kinds of questions. Just, is it true that I was in D.C. making bombs before I got into Bad Brains? I say no comment to that. But yeah, they was asking me some pretty absurd, controversial questions, man, and I just went ahead and did the best I could to answer them.
So you have like such a rich history, like so many years of like just footage and everything. What do you think of something like YouTube, where you can just time warp and see a bunch of this stuff?
I think it's great. I think it's great. YouTube does have a lot of our material. I was listening to it the other day.
How does it make you feel to like see those, like, just, I mean, because it's like a photo book, like this is your life basically.
Yeah, man. I feel all right.
Yeah.
I feel real good. I'm proud, or should I say I'm honored to be working with them, and I'm honored to know that is coming out and the kids can finally get closer to me and hear what I'm saying and get a chance to see the band, see me talking about things and playing music, dancing Souls United and Shaming Them Game, and just because I'm poor, tunes like that,
Yeah.
It keeps everything going,
Yeah,
like it
sure
never
does.
dies. It's just like every year, like new kids pick up new music, even if it's from forever ago, today, yesterday. It's just, even like a podcast, like it just keeps everything that people do creatively. Like as long as we talk about it and honor it, it never dies. So it's awesome.
That's right. Recycles and go into the next generation. You're right.
And we had the honor of interviewing Raz Israel Joseph, and he gave us such great stories about his friendship with you, his relationship with you. He said a lot of great things we didn't really know, and it was like heartening to hear him talk about you. And he talked about him being in Bad Brains at that time almost as continuing your message. He said the brother had to step out for a minute, and I stepped in. And I'm curious what your perspective about that is.
Oh, yeah,
that
I
era.
remember him, Joseph Israel, and he told me he was in a band called Fire Burn now, but before he said he was doing Rise. He did an album called Rise with the Bad Brains.
Yep.
And he said he was taking what I was doing to the next level and going ahead, trying it. And he said that it was working out for a little while, but then things didn't go the way he wanted it to go.
Yeah.
and so he started his own group. And I heard Fireburn at the Underground Arts. He was working there, and they did a show, and I thought they were pretty good, man.
Yeah,
They
man.
sounded all right.
Yeah, it's got Todd Youth in it,
Yeah.
you know, and
Mhm.
we saw pictures of you guys together, and that like what started the conversation in the interview. It was like, you know, we saw you guys together, wanted to know the backstory, and you know, I'm curious how you felt about it, because a lot of stuff about you is just lore and rumor.
Yeah.
And that's why it was interesting for these books and documentaries to come out, and it
Yeah.
sort of cleared things up,
Yeah.
and you know, maybe brought up some new questions. But I'm curious if there's anything that you want to clear up besides bombs in Washington D.C. Is there anything like that, you know, the documentary didn't cover or the books didn't cover that you've heard for years that maybe you want to clear up?
Mm-hmm.
The podcast's pretty big. It's going to be out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'd like to clear up the fact that we in the Bad Brains have broken up. I wanted to say to the youth that's not true. We haven't broken up. And a lot of people were wondering if I was a schizophrenic or not. And no, I'm not. And never have been. I've just been dealing with these headaches beforehand, and that's why I wasn't going to the shows. And they were asking me, well, do you think that you're physically and mentally able to do these shows? And I was confident in letting them know that I could do it. I could do it now. At first, I couldn't do it because it was just too many headaches. But I eventually took the medicine, and the medication worked, and it was able to clear up the how do you say, the nerves in my brain, because that was what was causing the headaches, of illness called sanct, and that's what I had. But
What's it called?
Sanct.
Is that an acronym, like SANCT?
Yes, it
Okay.
surely is. And the doctor, Dr. Lee, he said he had over 99% success. And he said 1 out of 99, he said he had done 200 operations, and for me not to worry, that he would be able to heal me, because he knew what was going on. They showed my brain in the x-ray, and they saw a little blip in there. And he did operate on my right side behind my ear, and it went away shortly after that.
And then from there, like, you put out an EP, right? Just recently, like last year.
Sir.
So
yes, sir.
what was the name of that, George? We have it right.
Children? Is that the last one you did?
It was called Project Liberty.
Okay. Yeah.
We recorded it in Jamaica.
We're gonna hear some of those songs tonight.
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
Sure are. A song called Steady as Compassion.
What was it like getting back into the studio?
Oh, man, it was beautiful.
Yeah.
I loved it. I just came out of the studio with a friend who's hitting the charts now, Ty Dollar. And I don't know if you
Vic
heard
Mensa.
Vic Mensa.
Vic Mensa.
Yeah, Vic Mensa too, and Ty Dollar. I was in the studio with both of them.
So how did they reach out to you?
Through the manager.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were they fans?
Yeah. He said that I was his hero.
Wow. So that's crazy, right? So like what I was talking about before, like, you know, kids grow up, and now, you know, like, because these are like brand new artists, you know, and they know HR, and you're their hero. Like, I mean, that's got to be amazing, right? To like
Yes, sir.
to feel that influence.
It is, man. It's how do you say, gratifying and a good feeling inside to know that I'm touching the youth of today, and know that I'm able to go through, and they have a lot of respect for me, and I appreciate that. I got a lot of respect for them.
Yeah.
And we did Leaving Babylon while we were in the studio, and then we did this new song with Vic called No More Oppression in South Africa. and that was really nice.
Yeah, I saw Vic in Chicago as well. That same festival. So
okay.
That's incredible. I wanted to ask you also about Lori. You know, they say marriage changes a man, especially the man in a band. And now you're married, and you know, we see a lot of her. She takes care of the social media. She takes care of some stuff for you. So, what's it like now that you're married?
Well, she's been working hard.
She's probably listening, so make it good.
It's a pretty nice feeling. Someone is there to cook good food. She's an herbalist, and she's been cooking good food, clean food for me. And she has been a help all the way around, and I thank God for her. I love her very much. She loves me, and love conquers everything. With love, you can do anything. Anything the mind can conceive and believe, the mind can achieve. And with love, with a good woman beside your side, one can do those things, and one is able to do those things.
Right. Was that
She's
Napoleon
doing
Hill?
Fine.
Yeah.
Yes, that's
Napoleon Hill. Yeah.
Last two questions. So basically, what does 2019 look like for you?
Well, we're working on a new album now. It should be coming out soon. It's called We Are One, and you'll hear it tonight.
Okay.
And it's a pretty cool song.
All right, so
Cool.
some more HR music 2019. Last question.
I want to do one more question
Okay.
before the last question, if you don't mind. We only have 20 minutes. I respect that, and you got things to do. But
I got to play a set.
and Sam is playing tonight as well.
All right.
So
playing next.
you know, I'm just
Cool.
I'll be at the bar if you need me.
Okay.
But I just wanted to ask you about, like, I was scrolling through Facebook before I got here, and John Joseph's new book is called P.M.A. That's tattoos. A lot of people hear it. You popularized that in the punk rock world. It comes from self-help, from Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, but you popularized it. And I'm at this point, what does PMA mean for you?
Well, it means positive mental attitude, to be positive about everything you do. When the times get hard, you got to keep the faith and be positive about what you're going to be able to do and how you're going to be able to make things happen. And that's what I think Napoleon Hill was trying to express himself in, and was trying to say to the youth and to the elders too, that if you are faced with adversities, don't let it get you down. Just stay positive. PMA, keep that positive mental attitude. Keep the attitude of being positive, and being positive is a reward to being negative, and it's a solution that you might need, that not need, but everybody wants, and that's how they can get their solution, get their prayers answered, because they do have to put their faith in God and give God all the glory. And once you do that, God will make a change in your life and make it possible to be that way.
I love it. So the name of the
Well,
All
thank
right.
you so much for doing it. I'll see you
You're
inside.
welcome. Yes, sir. Have a good set.
All right, so the name of the podcast is If I Ruled the World. So we ask every guest that we have, if you ruled the world, HR, what would that look like?
If I ruled the world, it would be a better place for the underprivileged and the homeless, and the just the unpopularized people who never heard of, who don't have a home and don't have any money. It would be a way to help them if I rule the world. That's what I would want to do.
That's a beautiful answer.
Yeah, man.
All right, well, you left me with a good feeling inside,
Okay.
HR. It was a
All
pleasure to meet you.
Yes, sir. Pleasure
All right,
to meet you.
we'll see you inside. Thank
Okay.
you. Perfect.
Just because I'm poor, them can't take no more. 'Cause know that we are free.